This little queen right here got spayed today, and it was, let's just say it was a very scary experience, and I'm just hoping that everything's okay. And Daisy and her little nurse right here. Finally watching Shane Dawson's Jake Paul documentary. Pretty interesting, actually. So I know I briefly talked to you guys yesterday after I got back with Daisy from her surgery. She got spayed yesterday. Yeah, that's why I look the way that I do. I'm not going anywhere today. Not a fun experience. I don't think I told you guys about how it went down. So as you guys might know, I think I've said this before, I was very opposed to the idea of getting Daisy spayed while we're in China. You know, I'm a huge advocate of getting your pets spayed and neutered because it's responsible and necessary, and I don't know why you wouldn't do it. I got him neutered about a year and a half ago, and I have a fair amount of experience with getting pets spayed and neutered. You know, I have a lot of animals myself, and I also did a lot of work with some like feral cat colonies and stuff with like trapping and releasing and all that stuff, so I know how it goes. You know, I know like what to expect, how long it's gonna take, and all that stuff. When my cat was neutered, I was like not happy with the job that they did. It just seemed that it was very like practices that they don't really do anymore. It's like maybe like it's just like old school vet medicine. And for males, it's such a like simple surgery that for females, where it's basically it's a hysterectomy and it's like a major surgery, I was like, man, if they're f***ing up on the males, like I don't want to risk a chance with my female. But Daisy has problems with mites and mange, and they come back every time she goes into heat. So I was like spending a lot of money and a lot of effort, and on her part it was like a lot of pain and a lot of, you know, everything to treat these mites every couple of months. And I'm like weighing it out, and I'm like, well, I could get her fixed, you know? Like, oh, I could wait until I get her to the States. But the thing is, when I'm planning to take her to the States is like when she's due to go into heat. So that means she would be dealing with all of that stuff like while she's traveling across the world, and I don't really want to do that. I started looking for recommendations, and I got a couple. Some of them were really expensive. Some of them were up to 7,000 kwai, and I was like, started, you know, just asking for recommendations from some people that I know that have pets, or some people that, you know, might be in the know about that kind of thing otherwise. A recommendation came in from a friend who has a group of friends that all like walk their dogs together, and a couple of them do work with like strays and stuff, and they all use this one vet, and the surgery would be 1,000 kwai, which is relatively, I mean, compared to the other prices that I was getting, relatively cheap, you know. And they like really trusted. They're like, no, we've all used this vet, and you know, she's great. I'm like, okay. So my friend offered to go with me to check out the place. And I'll be honest, the place was not the nicest, but they were very thorough in like the questions that they asked and like the directions that they gave for before surgery and all that stuff. So I felt fairly comfortable. Like with the cat, when I took him, from past experience, I know that like after a certain time at night, if he's having surgery the next morning, like he can't eat or drink or anything. So I asked them, I'm like, okay, well, if he's coming in at whatever time, like when do I have to lift up his food and water? And they were like, why? Because if you're sticking tubes down his throat, you don't want him throwing up while he's unconscious. Like, I'm not a doctor, but so like they specifically told me with her, they're like, no, just she can't have anything. 8 hours before the surgery, they were like more on point with like what I expected, you know? So we made the appointment for yesterday, and my friend went with me again. They showed us one of the dogs that had just gotten fixed, a female that had just gotten spayed a week prior, and she like seemed really great. So it felt safe, and it felt, you know, okay. They start looking for Daisy's veins in her arms to give her the anesthesia so she would fall asleep, and they couldn't find her veins. They tried both her front legs and one of her back legs. They couldn't find the veins because the scars from the mange were so thick that they were bending the needle, and they couldn't, like her skin was too thick to find her veins under. Like it wasn't like, you know, you can see the veins, or when you look inside of your elbow, you can see it. Like on her, you can't, because it's so scarred up and it's like thick. Finally, after they tried like 7 times, and she was like hyperventilating. She was freaking out because she hates vets. Something about vets, I think, you know, she just has really bad experience with having to be treated for the mange and everything for so long. She just hates them. She's not at all a nasty dog. I've never seen her snap at anybody, never heard her growl nasty or like show her teeth, except for when we're at the vet. At that point, she's a different dog. She'll bite, not me. I'm the only one that can like handle her. She will bite, she'll snarl, she'll show you her teeth, she'll, growl at you. Just look at her and she's like growling, No one at the vet believes that she's like a nice dog. They're like, oh, you trust this dog with your cat? I'm like, you don't know her. Like, the dog that she is here is a completely different dog, Eventually they had to use some other kind of needle. They put in the medicine to make her fall asleep. And I was holding her at this point, They like do it while I'm holding her because they were like, yeah, we don't trust her not to, like, we trust you the most to hold her. And I'm like, okay. So, they're like, oh yeah, she's gonna fall asleep in like under a minute. Something psychologically about having this happen was so scary because it felt like my dog just died in my arms. I mean, I knew logically, I'm like, no, that's the medication, but like something about how her like body weight slowly got so heavy and her like tongue fell out and her eyes were like still open. I was like, oh my God, it feels like my dog just died. It really like messed with me. So then they took her away and they're like, yeah, we'll be back in half an hour. So half an hour went by, then a little bit more time went by and I was like really getting nervous. I was like, oh my God, is something wrong? And my friend's like, no, I'm sure it's fine. Like if there's something wrong, they would come out and say like, whatever the problem is. So finally after a while, they bring her out and they like put her on the bench next to me. They're like, they made me bring a blanket because apparently they get cold after the surgery when they're coming out of the anesthesia. So put the blanket on her, everything, and they told me, they're like, yeah, we couldn't stop the bleeding. And I'm like, what? Okay, so what does that mean? They're like, well, we're gonna give her, like, it had mostly stopped at that point, and I guess that's why they were in there so long, because they were trying to stop the bleeding. They're like, yeah, we're gonna give her this medicine. So they put a drip through the IV, and I guess it was like a coagulant or something, to stop the blood or like to clot the blood. And she was like starting to come out and her tongue was out and she's like, like shaking like this. And he did that too when he was coming out of the anesthesia. And it's like so scary because it's like this dog that I know or this cat that I know is not there. Like this is another animal at this point, and it was just really scary. But like, at least I knew that happened, I know that to expect that, they did the coagulant stuff, and then when that was done, I guess it's like electrolytes or something. They're like, oh yeah, it's nutrition. I'm like, okay. It was a thing, that they put through the drip as well. Yeah, and then once she was like awake more so and she had her tail wagging and stuff, they let me take her home. I asked them to cut her nails while she was out, and they like didn't do it while she was in surgery, and then she was almost completely awake by the time they did it. I'm like, listen, if you don't want her moving, you have to do her nails now. Then the girl that came over and did it, like the groomer or whatever, cut two of them so close, like down to the quick so that they bled. And I'm like, are you a professional? Like, do you have any training in doing this, or did somebody just pull you off the street and say, hey, this girl's asking for her dog's nails cut? Like, not only does she have this incision and organs missing from a major surgery, but now she's gonna be ouchy walking on her nails. Cool. So I got her home. She was okay for a little bit. She was pretty out of it. She was pretty ouchy. And then I noticed that the incision had like blood around it. And I'm like, thinking about like I couldn't get the blood to clot. It's so easy for me to fall back into my like anxiety traps when I'm put in a situation. And I'm like, tell me she's gonna bleed out. And of course these things always happen like late at night when there's no vets around. There's nothing like, I can't just like walk and take her to, the nearest vet or something. It always happens that way. I just kept an eye on it. It like was dripping a little bit of blood at some point. I'm like, oh my God, like this is scary. This is too much. And they told me that by the time we left, it was like almost 8 o'clock. They told me she couldn't eat or drink anything till 1 o'clock. And I'm like, that's a long ass time. I didn't give her anything and she threw up once. I'm like, okay. So I texted my friend. I was like, just let them know that she threw up. Like on top of the bleeding, now she's vomiting. They said it was that if she throws up once or twice, it's fine. She threw up again. Then closer, it was probably around 12:30 by this point. I was like, it's close enough to 1 o'clock. So I gave her some water. I didn't want to give her too much because she was throwing up and her stomach was empty. And I tried to give her a little bit of food, but she like wanted no part of it. So I was like, well, that's not good, you know, like that's not a good sign. But to be fair, like she did just come out of surgery. She might have been like nauseous from the anesthesia. I don't know, whatever. She, you know, was not feeling good. So, and I was noticing too, and I got really scared that it was like blood pooling around the incision. It was like really swollen, and I know it's expected sometimes they'll get swollen, and that's fine. But I was just so afraid because they like planted that little seed in my head that it's like, you know, we can't stop her bleeding. So I'm thinking that it's blood pooling, that she's got internal bleeding, and I'm checking her gums to make sure that they're pink, you know? And I'm just like, oh my God, I immediately, as soon as they couldn't find the veins in her arms, I was like, I shouldn't have done this. This is not, I shouldn't do this. And now, you know, day 2, she seems okay. She's pretty alert. She's pretty good. She's been eating. She ate a little bit this morning, and then I had to give her pain pills. She ate with those. She had some water to drink. She seems, like I said, alert. When she walks, she's pretty ouchy, which is to be expected, obviously, but she's been outside. She's peed a bunch. She's pooped a couple times, but it's like hardly anything because she didn't really have much in her system at that point. And I think, you know, obviously it's gonna hurt her to like squat and strain to push it out. So she's doing her best. There's a lot of dried blood, so there's no like wet blood around the incision, but there's some bruising and it's still kind of like hanging down. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. But I messaged my friend who talked to the vet and showed her the pictures that I sent, and they were like, listen, she looks fine. She's not acting any way that we wouldn't expect her to act. Like, she seems, you know, everything seems okay. Like, try not to worry about it so much. I'm like, you don't know me though. I will find something to worry about. You know, she doesn't have that like glazed look of like pain in her eyes or anything, which is good. And, you know, I talk to her and she'll like wag her tail a little bit sometimes. So these first couple of days are like critical, and I'm just very nervous and very cautious about this kind of thing. You know, it's scary. When something bad happens, it's like hindsight is 2020. You shouldn't have done XYZ, or you shouldn't, you know, whatever. And I'm not saying anything bad has happened because they said that this is pretty normal what she's going through. And I'm like, all right. But it's like, God forbid something does happen. You know, and it's just, it's like, I'm trying not to think that way, but I'm like, how am I gonna live with myself if I did something that hurt this dog, or worse? What's gonna happen? But on the upper hand, no. On the upside of it, I turned my couch, my futon, I opened it up, so we've just been like lounging. I slept here. I didn't really sleep much at all, to be fair. I was like up pacing until like 4 in the morning. I was like crying and I was like really upset. And she was just like, let me sleep. And every time she'd like close her eyes, I'm like, is she dead? And I'm like watching her breathing. I hate this. I guess I'm gonna give her antibiotics now though. It's now Wednesday night, so it's a couple days. I think I would have last talked to you on Sunday? Yeah, because I think I gave you guys an update the day after Daisy's surgery. And I just wanted to give a second update. What you're seeing right now, like me looking like this, is how I've looked since Saturday. Or I guess since Sunday. Like, I've literally not left the house except for one time I went to go pick up a package, and then another time... Oh wait, that was it. No, I went to go pick up a package, and on the way I like picked up some takeout because I didn't have any food left in the house, and now again it's Wednesday, so it's been days, and I haven't been grocery shopping. I haven't done anything because I've been afraid to leave Daisy alone. I did take her back to the vet on Monday night, like late Monday. The vet stayed open for me because I was really panicking, and I'll show you why. If you are squeamish, you might want to look away because there's no like blood or like wet blood or anything, but there is bruising. That's pretty intense. So, all right. So this side actually, that side doesn't look so bad, but you can see all that dark blood in there. Daisy, can I show them what it looks like, please? All right. So you can see that is all bruising. Here, Daisy, turn this way, please, baby. So here's the other side. Got this a little bit of sagging here. And yeah, so that is terrifying. And that's what I've been dealing with for a couple days. Daisy is eating well and she's drinking and she's playful. I'm trying not to let her run around or do anything because, obviously that's not good for her. I don't want to open up those stitches, but she is her like normal self. And I keep checking her gums. Daisy, can I look? Can mommy look? Keep checking her gums to see if they're pink, and then when you press on them for a couple seconds, they'll turn white and then turn pink right away, so that's good. That means her blood is like, she's not like losing blood or anything, which is like my main concern, But yeah, I've learned that from this experience that like I'm not trusting anybody's recommendations anymore for like vets and for doctors and stuff because I honestly think that they butchered her. Like I really do. I am just glad that she seems okay. I haven't been back to school. My schedule is a little bit different now. So on Mondays I have off anyway, so that was good. So I always have like a 3-day weekend. Tuesday morning I do have a class, but I kind of told my teacher that I wasn't feeling well and that I wouldn't be in. Wednesdays I have off, and that's today. Thursdays, though, I have a full schedule, so I'll be there pretty much all day, so I'm a little bit nervous, leaving her alone because the incision itself looks okay. It looks a lot scarier than, it is, just because there's still all that dried blood on there and stuff from that very first night. Like, what are we doing? You're not supposed to be playing. I know you're very bored, but you're not supposed to. What are you doing? But yeah, so I took her to the vet on Monday night. I was really freaking out. She wasn't acting weird, nothing, except for the fact that she had all this like really bad bruising. Yeah, I don't know. It was just really, really scary. And the vet, like I said, stayed open for me. And she's looking at it. She's like, oh, that fluid that you feel, that's not liquid. That's just fat. I'm like, that's sagging. That's just fat that's coming through. Like, how is that better? How is that better than it being liquid? Like if there's stuff like seeping through. And she said that, she's like, she's not bleeding really. It's just like blood that was in the fat and it's seeping down. I'm like, I don't think you actually know what you're talking about. Like, are you trying to save your ass right now? But Daisy finished her antibiotics today. If I think she needs more of them, I, can get more of them. That's not a big deal. Yeah, she's not been on any pain meds except for that first day after surgery, so Sunday. And she is acting, like I said, completely normal, which is really great because if she was acting anything but completely normal, I'd be like really nervous. Not that I'm not nervous now. I've been pretty much beside myself for like the past couple days. So far, everything is okay. The bruises are getting bigger, but the doctor said that, they would get bigger probably. It would look worse before it gets better. But once again, I don't know how much stock I can put in this doctor. So as long as Daisy keeps acting normal and it seems like she feels okay, she's got a great appetite, I'm just gonna assume that there's no major issues, that it just looks way worse than it is. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. If you guys hear some rustling, it's because that's happening. There's really no point in trying to keep them apart or like trying to keep them from playing because Daisy's surgery was a week ago. It's Saturday right now. Daisy's surgery was a week ago and her bruising is much better. When I yell at them for playing now, they're like, what do you, like, what's happening? Because I've never like not allowed them to play together. So they're kind of like, granted if they get crazy then I intervene, but yeah. So like I said, it's Saturday and Halloween is Wednesday. And I think I'm going to a party that my friend is putting on for like the English department or maybe their English students. I'm not entirely sure exactly who it's for, but it's probably the only opportunity I'm gonna get to wear my costume. So I gotta finish it, and I'm so behind on everything. Like everything I planned to do this past week got put on hold because of Daisy. I hadn't gone up until today. I hadn't gone grocery shopping in like a week and a half maybe, and I usually go at least twice a week, like if not 3 times. So there was no food in the house. There was nothing. So like I finally am getting back into things today. So you can kind of see I started painting up here. Granted, you can't tell what my costume is yet, but it'll get there. I'll kind of check in with you guys along the way as it like starts to look like something. Wish me luck. Oh wait, let me turn this off. Don't want to get one of those like copyright strikes. So quarter of the way done with the shirt. I'm gonna do the other half like of the front. Let it dry, do the back later, but in the meantime, while it's drying, I'll do the front of the pants. You guys tell what I am yet? Or who I am yet? back of the jacket so far. I have that back of the sleeve to do, but that's where we're at so far. And then I gotta do the back side of the pants too. Son, I hate to break it to you, not only is Daisy another species, but she just got spayed and you're also neutered, so I don't know what you think you're doing. Don't mind this super awkward angle, but do you guys want to see? You want a little Walmart haul? See what I got today? I started putting it away and I'm like, oh wait, you guys might be interested to see. So I got some pineapple juice. I got some of this tomato sauce, which I bought earlier, like last time that I went to Walmart, and it like leaked a little bit in my bag, and then I realized that the safety thing, like the safety top, was probably not closed. And I'm like, well, I didn't really buy anything else for dinner because I was making pizza. So I was like, well, if it's poisoned, I don't know. So I just like, I made however many like small pizzas that I had. And then I ate one, waited a little while. I was like, well, I don't feel sick, so it's probably fine. It's so funny how like I'm so worried about contaminating like somebody else's food or like my dog or my cat or something. But for me, I'm like, I mean, if I die, I die. I got some ketchup. I got some EVOO, as Rachel Ray likes to say. I also got some peanut butter. I currently have 3 jars of peanut butter. I forgot Snickers. That's okay, I have plenty. Notice how a lot of these things are Great Value brand because it's cheaper. Just like these sandwich biscuits. Hey, the girl's on a budget, so. Oh, I got some rosemary, and then I got some potatoes because they're cheaper at Walmart. Well, I don't know if you need to see them. Potatoes. You get the idea. I got also this like pickled bamboo shoots, which I've never had from Walmart, so that should be interesting to try. And I got a little like mini cheesecake for later. I got a bunch of my egg tarts because you guys know I love my egg tarts. So these, I got 8 of them. So I got 2 of these packs because they're cheaper if you buy 2. It's like, yeah, they're $8.80 for 4. And then if you buy 8 of them, it's $15 for 8. So you get a little bit off, so that's good. Got some of this sweet potato, like dried. I don't know what the English, it's like breadcrumbs, kind of. But I use them when I like fry up my like eggplants and stuff like that and vegetables in general. So I got that. I think that's it. Man, I'm tired. Hello, my son. Oh, this is my, look at my small son. Look at him. Tell him how beautiful he is. Tell him. Alright, I gotta make dinner. It's late. What time is it? Oh man, it's like 7:30. Wow, what a nice Halloween costume. That's so nice. I like your hat. Today is the best day of the year. It's Halloween. So it's like 1:15 in the afternoon. I finally just now like put my futon back up, like into a couch. Let's see, today's Wednesday. Daisy's surgery was not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before. So it's been like a week and a half that I've been sleeping on the couch. And I think it's finally time that I don't need to do that anymore. I'll show you guys what Daisy's belly is looking like now. So I know it's like, she's like right conveniently in the dark, but that's what it looks like now. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look bad, but these stitches are so thick, like, you know, they said they're like, oh yeah, they'll just go away. You don't have to come back to get them taken out. And I'm like, those are gonna go away? Like, that's, man. I mean, it doesn't look red really. A little pink from like the scarring, but that's pretty normal, I think. Looks okay. And she feels good, so that's good. That's good. So since I can like put the couch back how it was and like all this stuff, I think I have like a couple hours before I have to start getting ready for the Halloween party. So I'm just gonna clean because it's sunny outside. So I'm gonna put like some stuff in the wash and then hang it up you know, on the balcony to dry. I feel like it's like smelly in here and it's just like been closed up for too long, and I don't know, it just makes me like a little bit skeevy. So I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna just clean up around the house because it literally looks exactly like I've been living on the couch for a week and a half. So last time I went home, my mom sent me back with a couple of cards for like different holidays. So the first one was for my birthday. So I had to, she like wrote on it like, don't open until, you know, like the date of my birthday and stuff. So she sent me, or she didn't send, she put in my suitcase a Halloween card. She put a check in it, which I will not show you because I don't need you stealing her info. But it's just a little pumpkin. It says, buy some candy. Happy Halloween. Miss and love you. It's got the date. So that's good. I have like, that whole thing up there is filled with like cards and stuff from my mom and like letters from my family, a couple cards from my friends. So yeah, I'm gonna add this to the collection, but I'm also gonna cash my check because don't want to leave that sitting around for too long. Mostly because Daisy will probably chew it, but that's besides the point. Hey guys, it's little after, it's like 6:10. So I got a little under an hour and a half to get ready. So the camera's gonna probably be shaking a little bit because of where it's sitting. And I know the lighting isn't great, but you guys are just gonna have to bear with me. I gotta paint my face. I'm an adult and you can't tell me what to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and use acrylic paint, even though I know it's not the best for your skin. It's all I have. And I'm not about to buy like a bunch of face paint for a costume. I'm gonna put the picture, what I'm going by, well, one of the reference photos, because there's a couple that I gotta go by for this. So I am going to be Vincent van Gogh. I'm gonna start actually by marking out where my mustache is, or my mustache, my beard, facial hair and everything. I'm gonna start with that. How you guys doing? By the time you see this, I have no idea how far after Halloween this is gonna be, but you know, hope you guys had a good Halloween and all that stuff. Okay, now that the facial hair, for the most part, is done, I can go in, like, touch it up as I go, but it's like where it needs to be. I have to mix up some skin tones, and what I think I'm gonna do, yeah, I'm just gonna like mix up a few of them maybe as I go. I'm just gonna kind of place them with the contours of my face, if that makes sense. I hate painting my ears for costumes because the paint just never comes out. Gotta do what you gotta do, right? Talk to you guys a little bit as I'm finishing up here. This costume is like remarkably easier to wear than some of the other costumes I've done. Like I like when there's just like a painted face or whatever, no like prosthetic parts that I have to put on or anything like that. In the past I've gone super crazy with my costumes because I am like that. Get that green right in there. Right down inside your ear. So I told you guys that I cleaned today. Oh, you know what happened to me today? I was taking Daisy out, as I do, and like I think I told you guys it was a sunny day today. So people were like, in China, everyone hangs their laundry and stuff, like, regardless of whether it's like their space, like they'll hang it in a public space, you know, like in the park or like in my complex, the little like courtyards, and like over the exercise equipment that everyone's supposed to be able to use, and like in the trees and all that stuff. I had Daisy out, and this woman was like yelling, and I'm like, oh, she better not be yelling at me. So I didn't turn around, I didn't look. But then she like came over, and I don't know if this was her normal volume, because I love to scream here for some reason. Some of them I've only ever heard them scream. I've never heard them like talk like at a normal volume. So I don't know if that was her normal volume or what she was, whatever. But she was basically telling me that I couldn't bring my dog over to where I was because she had her laundry there. And I was like, excuse me, like, this is a public shared space. If you can hang your laundry on all the tree limbs, I think I can bring my dog over there. And I guess she was like afraid that Daisy was gonna lift her leg, which she's female, so she doesn't lift her leg when she pees, or that she was gonna poop and like the lady would step in it when she's taking in her laundry. And not for nothing, I'm one of 2 people in this entire complex that I've seen pick up their dog's poop. So I told her, I was like, I showed her, I was like, I got a bag, it's fine. And she's like yelling at me. So I just like, finally I was just like, whatever. And I just like waved her away, and she was just yelling. And I'm like, God give me strength, because on most days I am just like, I'm ready to hop on a plane and I'm ready to go back to what I am used to and what I'm comfortable with, because some days, man, I tell you, it's hard. It's like extremely difficult for me, but what are you gonna do? I have all this orange paint that I didn't use, and I don't want to waste it because I can't get it back in the tube, so gonna thicken up these eyebrows and make sure that I pull off my actual eyebrows when I try to get this paint off. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Not bad for about half an hour. I was thinking I should paint my hands. Like, I definitely don't need to paint my hands. But it's funny, like, now I gotta walk to the party. No one really celebrates Halloween, obviously, so no one really dresses up. I remember the first year I was here, I was going to a party, and I dressed as I was like just a skeleton, like a skull. And I painted a skull on. Grandmothers with their little children, like screaming and like pulling their kids out of the way. I'm not a like ghoul coming to get you. Like, I'm going to a Halloween party. All right. There's that. Let's show you guys, because I know it's hard to see. So that's that. I have hairspray left over from last year's Pippi Longstocking costume. I have 2 cans in case I don't have enough. So that's good. I'm gonna go see if everything's okay with my hat. And I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's all put together. What do you guys think? Okay, I think I might paint my hand. By the way, this is this is an extra, extra large in China. Does that look like it fits me? It doesn't. Spoiler. I think it's okay. I think it came together. Yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna paint my hands because they just like look really out of place. But there's a whole thing. Not gonna wear these shower shoes, I promise. Do I look brooding enough? I got plenty of time to sit here and paint my hands like a maniac. I just pull my very stiff painted pants up so I can sit on the couch. Alright guys, it's later in the night. As you can see, I've taken my makeup off. Hopefully, I mean, I can't see the inside of my ears, but I think I got most of it. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. One year I was like one of the Na'vi people from Avatar, and I had to spray paint my ears like and the inside of it black to blend in with my hair. And for like literally weeks, I was like, every time I'd like use a Q-tip, it was black. All right, guys. So I guess on that note, I'm gonna say goodnight. And I'll probably end this vlog here because tomorrow starts November, which is like bummed that October's over. I mean, September, October, like that's my time of year, man. I don't know. Once it hits November, it's like got a different feeling, which a lot of people love because Thanksgiving for us Americans and like Christmas and all those other holidays that we have in the winter. I'm gonna get going and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.